Chosen one. There is a profound work still waiting for your hands to complete, not because you are lazy or unwilling to try, but because so much of your strength has been given to things that do not truly belong to your calling. I have seen you run whenever others needed you. Listen, when they were hurting, carry responsibilities no one else wanted to accept, and try to keep everything around you from falling apart. You became the problem solver, the one who repaired the empty spaces, and the person who always said there was still enough strength left. Yet beneath everything you accomplished, one question continued to remain. What within you has still not been fully lived? That question has not come to condemn the years behind you, but to awaken you to the work that is still waiting to be acknowledged. This moment does not require you to abandon everything immediately. It simply invites you to become honest enough to turn inward and say, I have seen what has always been calling me, and I will no longer pretend that it does not exist. You have spent too much time becoming the answer to other people's needs. Whenever a door opened, you entered because you believed that if you were capable of helping, then you were obligated to help. Whenever someone placed a burden before you, you accepted it because you feared that refusing would make them consider you selfish or uncaring. You used your abilities in rooms that knew how to receive your devotion, but did not know how to nourish who you were. You completed the work, received thanks, and were sometimes even praised. Yet, when every voice became quiet, you still felt an untouched emptiness within. I want you to understand that this feeling does not make your service meaningless. It simply reveals that kindness and calling are not always the same thing. You may be good at many things, but not everything you do well is a place where you are meant to remain forever. There is a kind of exhaustion that cannot be healed by one long night of sleep. It is the weariness of someone continually using their strength correctly in the wrong place. You were devoted, but that devotion was divided among too many people, too many plans, and too many responsibilities that did not belong to you. You entered rooms with all your ability, made them better, and then left feeling as though you had become increasingly faint. You believed you were exhausted because you were not strong enough, when the deeper reason was that you were trying to build a house upon land you had only been called to pass through. Not every place that needs you is meant for you. Not every problem you can see is yours to solve. And not everyone who becomes disappointed when you leave possesses the right to force you to stay. I know the question, is this truly meant for me, has appeared many times after you completed a responsibility. It came when everyone had gone home, when you sat alone in a quiet room, or when you looked at an accomplishment that should have made you happy but still felt no inward sense of completion. You accused yourself of being ungrateful, demanding too much, or failing to appreciate what you already had. But, beloved, gratitude does not require you to remain forever in a place that has completed its purpose. You can value what you learned, love those who once walked beside you, and still recognize that the time has come to move in another direction. Restlessness can arise from selfish ambition, but it can also be evidence that you are living too far from what truly matters. You must discern this through peace, time, and honesty rather than guilt. A genuine calling rarely shouts. It does not use panic to force you into a dramatic decision. It usually returns as an idea that refuses to disappear. A field you willingly study even when no one pushes you. Or a pain in the world that awakens a deep sense of responsibility whenever you encounter it. It may appear during moments when you lose track of time because you are creating, teaching, caring, or building something meaningful. It may also be recognized through the unusual peace you feel when imagining yourself devoting many years to that work, even while knowing that the road will not be easy. Pay attention to what returns faithfully, not merely to what excites you for a few days. A true calling does more than stir emotion. It makes you willing to train, accept responsibility, and remain faithful through seasons when no one is watching. You began many things and stopped halfway, causing you to question your discipline and your ability to finish. But I want you to look more deeply. Some things remained unfinished because they were not worthy of your whole heart. You began them because others expected you to, because they appeared safe, or because they offered quick recognition. At first, you performed well because you are naturally adaptable. But the farther you went, the more force you had to use to pull yourself forward. Yet, do not use this as a reason to abandon everything that becomes difficult. A calling also contains demanding days, repetitive work, and seasons without inspiration. The difference is that even when you are tired, you still sense that the effort is building something worth protecting. Even after failure, you still desire to learn again and do it better. The work meant for you may not be a grand title or a role that causes the entire world to know your name. It may be the way you use your experience to guide a group of people, create something useful, build a healthy home, or speak what many people feel but cannot yet express. It may be found in your ability to connect people who are different, see solutions where others see only disorder, or transform the pain you endured into support for those walking a similar road. Do not despise what is simple because it lacks outward glory. Purpose is not measured by how many people know about it, but by how truthful, useful, and life-giving it becomes. Now, you need to create space so that you can hear it more clearly. If your schedule is filled with every external demand, the deeper calling will always be pushed to the end. Begin by reviewing the responsibilities you carry. Which ones truly belong to you? Which can be shared, refused, or completed and released? Who is receiving too much from you while never respecting your limits? You do not need to change everything in one day. Reserve a specific period each week for the work that makes you feel alive and purposeful. Learn a necessary skill. Write down the vision. Test a small project and observe the results. Clarity often appears through action, not through thought alone. You do not need to wait for an extraordinary sign. You need to create the conditions in which what was planted within you can grow. I also remind you not to romanticize your calling so greatly that you neglect your present duties. You still need to care for your life, keep your promises, and fulfill legitimate responsibilities. Maturity does not cause you to leave impulsively, create damage, and then call it obedience. Build the bridge before leaving the former shore. Prepare resources. Seek counsel. Test your abilities, and move at a sustainable pace. What is right is not afraid of examination. If a direction truly belongs to you, it will become increasingly clear through fruit, maturity, and a deep foundation of peace rather than temporary excitement alone. You do not need to destroy the present in order to find the future. You can reorder your life gradually and wisely. Beloved, what remains unfinished within you is not standing there to make you ashamed of the years behind you. It is patiently inviting you into a more focused and truthful way of living. Nothing you did for others was wasted. Through it, you learned your abilities, your limits, and what your heart genuinely cares about. Yet the season of living only by responding to immediate needs must change. You were not born merely to extinguish fires created by other people. You were also given the authority to build, create, and complete something bearing your unique imprint. Return to the question that has quietly followed you. What will remain unfinished if I never begin? Then answer it not only with words, but with protected time, a clear decision, and the first step. Michael, I'm not asking you to discover every answer today. I only want you to stop running from the question. Become quiet enough to hear what has continually risen within you. Courageous enough to acknowledge what you truly desire. And disciplined enough to transform that awareness into tangible work. You do not lack the ability to finish. You have simply been scattered for too long among things that did not require your whole being. Now reclaim your attention. Restore your boundaries. And give your finest strength to what deserves it. When your hands finally touch the work that has waited for so long, you will understand why previous achievements could not completely satisfy you. It was not because they possessed no value, but because they were preparing you for this, a life in which you are no longer merely busy, but genuinely present, creating and completing what only you can offer in your own way. You are like a seed that was once buried deeply in darkness, not to be forgotten, but to quietly develop roots strong enough for the day it rises toward the light. There were seasons when you looked around and saw no evidence of progress. Others appeared to be recognized, given opportunities, and invited onto wide-open roads, while you lived through waiting, silence, and days when no one knew how hard you were trying. But beloved, a seed does not disappear merely because it is beyond sight. While the ground remains quiet, life within has already begun to move. The old shell is cracking. Roots are searching downward, and the strength required for the future is being gathered. What the world calls burial, I call being planted in the proper place for lasting growth. The trials did not come to make you a prisoner of pain. They deepened the roots of your faith, taught you to stand without depending upon praise, and helped you discover a source of strength that favorable circumstances could never provide. If a tree develops a wide crown but shallow roots, the first strong wind may bring it down. Therefore, I did not rush to elevate you while the hidden parts remained unstable. I allowed you to learn faithfulness through small tasks, to keep your word when no one checked, and to continue forward without evidence that anything would change. Those days felt like delay, but in truth, they protected you from entering too soon into a position you were not yet able to preserve. The world often sees only branches, leaves, and fruit, but I see the roots that had to push through hard stone in search of water. People may be amazed when you finally rise, but they do not know how many times you had to lift yourself after disappointment. They will see peace upon your face without knowing the nights when you fought not to lose hope. They see the result, while I witnessed the entire process. Therefore, you do not need to resent the seasons when no one recognized you. What is built in silence often possesses greater endurance than what is raised amid applause. When the right time arrives, you will not bloom only for a moment. You will possess enough depth to remain standing through many changing seasons. Your life is also like a painting being completed through brushstrokes that cannot yet be understood from such a close distance. Some darker colors made you believe the picture had been ruined. But when you step back, you will see that they created the depth that allowed the light to become visible. Detours you once called mistakes often redirected you away from places that were not right for you. Seasons of confusion forced you to listen more carefully and taught you not to trust every appealing voice. I am not saying that every wrong decision was arranged by heaven, but I can use even your clumsy choices to teach wisdom, correct your direction, and prevent your story from ending where you once fell. No part of the journey must become useless if you are willing to learn, heal, and continue. I never promised that your road would be completely easy. A journey without difficulty may create comfort, but it does not necessarily create depth. I desire your life to possess meaning, not merely the appearance of success. Therefore, there were times when you had to learn patience instead of receiving an immediate result, courage instead of being protected from every fear, and forgiveness instead of never being wounded. Through each experience, something rough within you was refined. You were not merely surviving difficult years, you were being formed into someone capable of carrying light without arrogance, supporting others without judgment, and entering a position of influence without forgetting the days when you were overlooked. Your purpose is not merely a title, a profession, or a position admired by others. Those things may become instruments, but they are not the whole calling. True purpose is the fire that makes it impossible for you to ignore pain, injustice, or places where hope is absent. It appears when you feel compelled to build, heal, encourage, guide, or create something better than what existed before. You may fulfill that purpose in a small room, within your family, at work, or before a broad community. The value of your calling does not depend upon how many people see it, but upon how faithfully you carry what was entrusted. One timely word of encouragement can keep someone from despair. One upright decision can change the direction of an entire family. One task performed in love can become a place of peace for people you do not yet know you will meet. You were set apart, not because you never lacked anything, but because your heart continued turning toward light after passing repeatedly through darkness. You could have become bitter, but you still tried to preserve kindness. You could have used your wounds to injure others, but you continued choosing gentleness. Those choices prove that the flame within you was never extinguished. Perfection is not what makes you ready. Sincerity, humility, and the desire to continue growing are the foundation. I do not need you to know every answer. I need you to listen, remain willing to change, and possess enough courage to take the right step when it is placed before you. Doubt, fear, and delay have knocked upon the door of your life many times. Sometimes they said you were incapable. At other times they repeated your failures until you believed the future would resemble the past. But those voices do not possess the right to write the ending. Every time you rose, you proved that the fall was not stronger than restoration. Every time you tried again, with greater wisdom, what attempted to misdirect you became a lesson that steadied your steps. Obstacles are not always part of a mysterious strategy against you. Some arise from circumstances, decisions, or the natural limitations of life. Whatever their cause, they cannot prevent you from learning, adjusting, and moving forward, unless you give them the authority to define you. I want you to leave behind the posture of constantly fighting everything. Strength is not only the ability to resist, sometimes it is the calmness to choose which battle is worthy of your energy. You do not need to prove yourself through continual exhaustion. Not every criticism deserves an answer. Not every closed door needs to be forced open again. And not everyone who leaves needs to be pursued. Preserve your energy for what aligns with purpose. Care for your health. Rest when necessary. Seek appropriate support. And build habits that allow your light to endure. A lamp that is not cared for will soon run out of oil, regardless of how brightly it first burned. Beloved, your roots have grown far deeper than you can see. The years of hiddenness are approaching the time when their meaning will become visible. You do not need to force the flower to bloom before its season, but neither may you continue hiding beneath the soil when the light has begun calling your name. Use the lessons you received. Take the step you delayed, and stop defining yourself by dark days. You were not buried, you were planted. You were not forgotten, you were nourished in secret. You are not evidence of a ruined life, but are becoming proof that what appeared to be an ending can become a beginning. When you rise, carry the humility of someone who remembers having once lain deep beneath the soil. Do not use growth to stand above others. Use it to create shade for the weary. Do not turn achievement into a throne. Allow it to become seed for other fields. The light within you was not given to make others feel small, but to help them recognize that they too can leave darkness behind. I transformed each crack into a place through which light could enter, each delay into another layer of roots, and each battle into deeper understanding. Now, lift your head and move forward. The season beneath the ground has completed its work. The green shoot is rising. The picture is becoming clearer. And what I formed quietly within you can no longer remain hidden. Beloved, when you continue pouring strength into work that does not belong to your deepest calling, you will feel as though you are forcing a river to move against the direction in which it was created to flow. You may try a little harder, endure for another stretch, and use determination to drag yourself from one day to the next. Yet the more you force it, the more your strength disappears while no life remains within. Do not immediately call this weakness. Some forms of exhaustion do not come from lacking discipline, but from using discipline to sustain a direction that no longer fits. A river does not become a failure because it cannot flow uphill. It is simply remaining faithful to the law placed within it. The same is true for you. Repeated strain may be revealing that your energy is directed toward another place, where effort will produce not only pressure, but meaning, clarity, and lasting fruit. I know the difficulty is not merely the amount of work, but the guilt you feel whenever you want to say no. When others approach, you hear their need, see expectation in their eyes, and immediately feel obligated to respond. Somewhere deep within, you know the honest answer is no, but the word becomes trapped between your heart and your lips. Then you smile, accept again, and persuade yourself that you will find time later. You became accustomed to believing that a purposeful person must always be available to serve, that love means never disappointing anyone, and that faithfulness is measured by how often you sacrifice for others. But I want you to look more carefully. Someone can give very much while still neglecting the most essential work entrusted to them. Generosity without discernment can become a doorway through which every demand enters until your inner house contains no quiet at all. Not every request is your responsibility, and not every good task is yours to perform in this season. Some things are valuable, but accepting them would remove time from a greater assignment. Some people genuinely need help, but you are not the only person capable of helping them. There are conversations in which you could participate, but your presence there is less important than returning to complete what has waited for you for so long. Every yes consumes part of your life because it carries time, attention, and strength. Therefore, an unexamined yes does more than add an item to your schedule. Sometimes it quietly pushes your central work back another day, then another month, and then many years. I am not teaching you selfishness. I am teaching you that mature love is not endless scattering, but the ability to give the right thing to the right person at the right time without betraying your own purpose. You have begun to sense this change. Places that once excited you no longer carry the same life. Invitations you previously saw as opportunities now sometimes feel like subtle interruptions. You enter a room, attend a meeting, or accept another responsibility, yet part of you remains turned towards something else that has not been completed. This does not mean those things have become worthless, but that your season has changed. A deeper conversation is continuing within, and every distraction pulling you away from it creates a sense of incompleteness. Even some relationships you once deeply valued no longer function as before. You still love them and remain grateful for what you shared, but you recognize that you cannot continue being present in the same way without losing the focus required for the road ahead. This change is not coldness, nor is it an invitation to turn away from everyone. It is a clean narrowing in which non-essential things are gradually moved away from the center so that what matters most has enough room to grow. As a gardener cuts away sprawling branches so that the life of the plant can concentrate upon what is preparing to bear fruit, I am teaching you to protect the energy entrusted to you. You do not need to turn this adjustment into a bitter separation. Reduce your presence in places where you appear only from habit. Stop over-explaining yourself to people who do not genuinely want to understand. Limit the time you give to repeated crises when those involved refuse to change. You can still love without carrying, help within boundaries, and remain kind without opening your entire life to every demand. I know something has returned many times during quiet moments. It may be a project you once wrote about and then put away. Work you continually feel compelled to do. A voice that desires to be used in service. Or a form of contribution you have carried in your mind for years. It did not leave, even though you tried to remain busy with many other matters. You once said that the time was not right, that you were not skilled enough, lacked resources, had not met the right people, or possessed too many responsibilities to resolve first. Those reasons may once have been true, but over time they became a veil covering procrastination. What was planted within you did not become smaller. On the contrary, each year it carried more weight, like a quiet flame that would not allow you to become entirely comfortable, with a life filled only with secondary matters. Part of you has known for a long time that this is no longer a passing idea. It is work demanding your full attention. Not because it promises fame, but because, when you imagine completing it, your life feels more aligned. You do not need to abandon everything overnight or make a reckless decision. What I want is for you to stop treating this calling like a visitor, allowed to pass briefly through your mind. Give it a place in your schedule, a portion of your resources. a clear plan, and regular faithfulness. If it is a book, write one page at a time. If it is a project, build the foundation. If it is service, learn the required skills. If it is a new direction, research, prepare, and begin with the smallest step you can take today. Do not wait until you feel completely prepared, because readiness often appears only after you begin. There will always be another reason to delay, one more problem to solve, one more person to help, or one more fear to overcome. But if you do not protect what matters, other people's emergencies will continually occupy its place. Focus does not appear naturally, it must be chosen. You may need to disappoint a few people temporarily so that you no longer continue disappointing the calling that has followed you for many years. Say no gently, without hostility, arrogance, or turning a boundary into punishment. A simple and sincere answer is often enough. You cannot accept more at this time because you are completing an important responsibility. Beloved, do not confuse guilt with evidence that you are doing something wrong. Sometimes guilt appears only because you are breaking an old habit, the habit of placing everyone else's needs before everything belonging to you. When you begin saying no, people accustomed to your unlimited availability may react. Their reaction does not define the righteousness of your decision. Examine your heart. Are you refusing because of bitterness, or because you want to remain faithful to what is noble? Are you closing yourself to love, or merely protecting your focus? If you preserve kindness, do not abandon people in genuine danger, and do not use boundaries to manipulate. Then this narrowing is not selfishness. It is necessary discipline that enables you to complete what no one else can do in your place. Your entire journey appears to be quietly pointing in one direction. And now, that guidance has become too clear to ignore. Your experiences, abilities, pain, and lessons are converging around the same work. What once appeared unrelated is beginning to fit together, as though every part of the road gave you something necessary. I do not promise the process will be easy, but I want you to understand that the exhaustion of living in the wrong direction differs from the weariness of building what is right. One makes you empty and unfamiliar to yourself. The other may make you tired, yet deep within it still carries life, joy, and the conviction that your effort has value. Therefore, allow the river to return to its proper direction. Stop exhausting yourself to maintain commitments that no longer belong to your present season. Reclaim your attention from places that create only noise without fruit. Return to the work that has repeatedly called your name during quiet hours. You do not need to accomplish everything at once. You need only stop turning away. Choose one clear step and carry it out faithfully. I am not narrowing your world to remove love, but to concentrate your strength. I am not teaching you to say no so that you become distant, but so that your most important yes finally receives the time, breath, and devotion it deserves. That work has waited long enough. Now approach it. Place your hands upon what has been entrusted, and allow your life to flow in the direction it was created to follow from the beginning.